Welcome to the pause. This is the right place to stay. Now, his wife, brother, and house help were on the cusp of being burnt on the night of June 3. He had a choice to run for his life and leave them to die. But 38-year-old Kasim defied the danger to help all the trapped members of the family to safety. However, in the course of that, he became a victim, covered in flames. And as Ghana prepares to commemorate the tragedy, Kasim has been speaking to JoyNews Agenda.
The floods had covered the entire road, so I wanted to cross over to the Vienna city end. The situation was better there. On the main road, the floods reached the chest level. I decided to stand at the police station so that when the floods recede, I could cross the road with my wife and my brother. Because the running water was carrying away cars and other items like containers. The floating cars and containers could hurt us if we crossed. Suddenly, my wife drew my attention to the fact that there was fire in the nearby house. It was coming towards us. When I turned, I realized it was serious. The fire was coming towards us indeed. I held the hands of my younger brother and our house help. We had to hurry and cross the road despite the danger. Just when we took a few steps, a big ball of fire landed on my head. I had a bag behind me. It also went up in smoke. Every part of my body began to burn. I became weak. I started fighting to douse the fire around my head. I didn't know where I was. The flash carried me. Later, I found myself around the Odor fishing shore.
He tells the story of many more who survived this gory accident. Now, some survivors of the June 3 disaster are appealing for help 2 years after they suffered from excessive burns as a result of the explosion at Circle. Speaking to the AM show host, Roland Walker, one of the survivors, Dennis Opoku, says some of his colleagues who suffered the same fate are yet to be compensated by the company that owns that filling station.
To be very sincere with you, most of the people who were involved in the June 3rd disaster, we had a couple of complaints, and it's like some of them were not compensated, and as a result, it's giving them a very serious challenges to be to be dealt with. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if the board of the company is rather listening to me now. I want to use your platform to appeal to them that those who were not compensated and were left out should be looked at, because economically they are struggling just to be able to face day-to-day activities, because most of them, their business are collapsed. They are not with the strength they used to have, and they are dealing with the challenge of being a survivor as a victim to survivor. So that journey alone, requires a lot of support, like psychologically, what needs to be done to them, the tool to be given to them to be able to face, the day-to-day activities. I mean, the challenges involved. It's not just it's a unique challenges, and it's numerous. You can't really single them out one by one. So they need support, as I said.
At the end of the day, we know that the victims from this incident are not only burn survivors, would you say? Yeah. But how comprehensively, from the beginning when the incident happened, do you get some level of support and service, as promised, whether delivered or not?
Yeah. As association, we haven't, received anything like that.
Have you reached out?
Yes, we try to make some effort. But Ghana Federation of Disability, we are part of them, and as a matter of fact, they've been giving us the empowerment. I mean, how to stand against some of these things, and we work in collaboration with many of them, and it's helping. But we live in a country that, excuse me to say, sometimes if you are not in the problem or if you are not in the situation, it's hardly for you to understand and appreciate what others are going through. And this is something that I really want us to, look at. we have the current minister, really getting us closer, and that is helping. But I must say that as a nation, we must all give the support to others who need us.
An official of the National Disaster and Management Organization, Alhaji Ibrahim Saidu, says NADMO and the Accra Metropolitan Assembly have done enough to avert another disaster.
NADMO and AMA, we have done a lot of things that will make sure that this never happens again. In the first place, we've distilled the assemble, the silting of the gutter, which has taken place, and dredging of the gutter, which has taken place. So if you see, last year it rained, but the volume of the rain now didn't cause any havoc in a sense of the exercise that we did. So we are making progress. All that we are entering the public is to take note that they shouldn't throw their rubbish into the drains. When they do that, the drains get choked. And when they are choked, now it is not easy flow of water. That is also another cause of what? Flooding. And that can happen again. So we are seeing that never again in our life what we saw last 2 years.
But at the end of the day, NADMO is given a responsibility of making sure that something is done concretely as far as responding in times of emergency to disasters. Would you say that you've improved that part of your mandate or service?
We have done that. We have done that. And in practicality, we have had simulation exercises, making sure that when it happens again, we can rescue the victims or we can have a remedy. And this simulation exercise, in fact, it was well attended by the security agencies. And then we have in place mechanisms or devices that, should it happen again, will be able to, help the situation.
Well, joining me in the studio is a survivor of the June 3 disaster, Francis Azuba. He's a plumber, and he also survived that disaster. You're welcome to the Pulse.
Thank you very much.
Tell us, how did you survive this gory accident?
Well, we thank God for our life today. It was by the grace of God. Maybe someone may not feel how I felt, but first of all, we give thanks to God. It was around 7 p.m. that evening when I, from Legon coming. I went to Legon to do some work there. When I reached Seka, the rain was just showering. So most of us were trying to please to just hide for a while because all cars were being parked. So I get out overhead. So I crossed the road to Mamidokunu restaurant there. So from there, how I saw the scratcher, it was not that safe. So I went to Barclays Bank, opposite Ghana Commercial Bank. So we were there, the rain would stop, it wasn't stopping. So around 10:59 to 11 p.m. in the evening, so I decided to go home because how the whole place was being flooded. But still, a lot of people were coming. The place was being choked and chaotic, being choked. So when I was decided to go home, I saw a tender. A tender just blew. I think there's a fuel tanker park in the filling station, the Gold filling station, behind the commercial bank. So I just heard a noise, boom. Before we see it, a very big flame. And where people were, I saw a lot of people under the filling station that they were bending, shouting, "God help me." Nurses, market women, a lot of people. So I said, wow. So by the grace of God, I learned how to swim a little bit because I worked with the white people before in the tall side. So I just jumped into the river, swim, climbed the overhead, stand. It was very horrific. The fire service were coming, they couldn't get access. The place, it was light off, they gave light off, so you can't get access to even shoot video or something. In fact, what I saw one thing I can remember is that I saw a woman with a child who is burning. So I tried to go there, but my sister, the water there was a petrol on the surface of the water. So.
Okay, hold on. Let's cross over to the police headquarters where the IGP is updating the nation on the captain's death. we're still trying to get to the IGP who is updating the nation. We know that the police has done a lot of work on this, and we're expecting to hear what the police have been doing since Monday to get an update on all that they've been doing in that town, the Danger Obuasi town. We know that there have been a lot of deployment. We know there's been arrest. We know the forensic team, the homicide team, all of them have been there. So let's hear the man who has the update.
I will plead with the media to help in the education of the general public, to put a stop to the practice while the police do its bit to stem the tide. In this wise, it behoves on all relevant institutions, both public, private, to take massive.
Okay, we are having problems with our feed, but we'll try and resolve it quickly and get you that update. Let me come back to the studio. You were telling us how you tried to help a woman with a child, but the situation couldn't allow you.
Yeah, the situation couldn't allow me because I'm not a fire expert. So I stood back. What I saw is like I was out of myself. A lot of people were burning, people were shouting, in fact. But sorry, one advice, one suggestion I would suggest to the prestige in society, the authorities, is that they should think of average Ghanaian. We are also taxpayers.
So how has life been after all of this, 2 years after this disaster?
Good. 2 years down the line now, anytime I reach to circuit there, I don't want to watch there, because I saw everything visually with my naked eye. It isn't easy to see your brother or your sister there. In fact, that whole week when I came down, I can't eat. I'm not in myself, as I told you, I was traumatized. So, but the authorities, when something happens like this, you see a lot of noise out. What during why I came here? A noise, there'll be noise, making noise. They'll set up a fund. I'll visit your family. I'll come to you after the burial or something. Fiasco. You wouldn't see anybody again in your presence. So you feel like I am part of Ghana. I am part of human being. Maybe some people are being disabled. They can't work. So how is the government supporting those people? Is it a mere saying?
All right, let me have you hold, and let's go back to the police headquarters where the IGP is addressing us with some updates.
For him to achieve this goal. For the purpose of protecting sanctity of evidence, we have decided not to parade the 16 suspects currently in our custody. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a war, not only for the security agencies, but for all of us, including members of the public. Let us close our ranks and collaborate to deal with this canker once and for all. I assure you of the commitment of the Ghana Police Service. Please come on board. I thank you for your attention.
All right, so let's come back to the studio to speak with Francis Azugba. But you heard the IGP, and he made it clear that it is not only the fight of the police, it's the fight for all of us Ghanaians. So we need to cooperate and collaborate with the police to be able to get to the root of this matter. And he also urges the media to be circumspect with the information they churn out, so as not to make the work of the police difficult. So we'll still be updating you on everything that the police is giving us from the field. But right now in the studio is Francis Azugba, the plumber who survived that gory accident, the June 3 twin disaster, and he tells me how it's been 2 years afterwards. And you have issues with the authority. What exactly are your problems with them?
Good. As I said earlier, they shouldn't come to you as buy you this thing, how to call it, biscuit, Fanta, and and praise you, then that's all. They should set up, when they are setting up a fund or insurance for the children or somebody who have been disabled or lose his or her life, it should be a system whereby at least that insurance can cater for the child, or the government can cater for the child's school fees to up to university level or something like that. But the beginning, you hear them, all these noises. After the noise, as I said, you won't see anybody again. So when it happens like that, the person might lose hope in society or lose hope in the country, because he or she is a taxpayer, is a citizen of the country. It's not a few people that are prestigious that the society will be looking at. Everybody is a human being in presence of God. So I pray that the authorities to look up that and see that everybody who have been a victim of something or be a disabled person, and they should look up that person to the end of his life on this earth.
When the incident happened, what were you told when officials of government visited the place?
Actually, when I was in the rain, my phone, I think my phone, I lifted up my phone and my phone was soaked with water. So I shook it up and I remember I called one of my friends at National Security to help me. My sister, you know, my dear, I don't know. These companies, they have to set up emergency numbers out there. The NADMO, the Ministry of Interior, JoyNews, multimedia, so that if, in case somebody, the public out there can call that emergency number and then they need help, they can help him. So I called him and said, brother, can you please help us with NADMO or Ghana Air Force to come and lift the people with helicopter as we are in the water here? He said, they are coming. You'll hear from you. They are coming up to now.
So what exactly do you want the authorities to do for you?
Not for me per se, but
for the victims.
For the victims, right. I plead that once in a year, they should visit the victims and the fund that they have set there, now the insurance they want to buy for them, their children, they should take good care of them. Their education is, their feeding. And at least they should motivate them that that's not the end of life. At least human beings needs motivation and the caring. So they also can think that that's not the end of their life.
All right. Many thanks to you, Francis. Azuba is a plumber and a survivor of the June 3 disaster. Let's